Good morning, everyone. So I'm showing you the images of yesterday afternoon, starting in the night. Those conditions kind of lasted all night, and you can see that's the worst of the storm right there. Pretty much in terms of wind, in terms of wind gustiness here in Ensenada Cardonal. Still happy with my choice of anchoring spot and hunkering down here. There was lots of wind, and this bay is protected and there's not much wave action going on. But it's surprising with all these mountains around that the wind is not kind of more subsiding, but it has a tendency to whiplash and twists and turns, and that was kind of straining my anchoring setup quite a fair bit. So much so that eventually you'll see in the next images that I ended up deploying that secondary anchor. So see that anchor line on the right side here just straining so hard, just really pulling hard on it. And I kind of wanted to subside the whiplash effect on the boat of how all this was functioning. So I dropped the secondary anchor, and actually I didn't drop it like perfectly in a Y kind of pattern, and I was not happy with how I dropped it, but it was actually working. It was doing the work I wanted it to do, which is to stabilize the boat in the pattern and to lower the dancing on the anchor oscillating sort of pattern that generates a lot of dynamic load on the whole anchoring rig. And it did that just fine, and I thought it was not hooked in well, but you'll see in further images that I took this morning that right now this morning, because the wind shifted from the south, it's actually holding the main load of the boat. You can see the two lines here, with the secondary being the nylon white line there that's not working really hard. But what it did is actually stop the boat from going too far on starboard, and now the main anchor is doing its job of just holding the boat's nose to the wind, and it's going to shift the other way, so it's shifting more on port side. But the secondary anchor would prevent it from going too far on starboard, and that sort of narrowed down the oscillating pattern of the boat and really helped make the boat more comfortable for the night than it would have been without that, and also sort of lower the whole load on the main anchor, which I was happy I was able to do that. I think the next images we'll see how the anchor line just stretches so hard. Like you can see it there, how horizontal it gets. So that means that this line is hooked like 210 feet away from me on a 30-foot bottom, and it has like sort of almost a direct angle. So the boat is pulling straight on the anchor at that point, and it's just straining the whole system hard. The whole chain is said to have a working load of 3,900 pound tension. The nylon line has actually a higher strength than that, but the nylon line, you don't want the nylon line rubbing on the ground because it has no chafing ability. So now you can see the boat is going to starboard, and it's actually starting to pull on the secondary anchor, which is preventing it. So that oscillating on the line of the secondary anchor, I thought it was not hooked well, but later this morning you see how now it's hooking really well, and it's preventing the boat from going further on starboard, which is exactly perfect. Like that's what the Y configuration is designed to do. So now it stopped the boat momentum on starboard, and now the boat is going to shift to a port oscillation, and it's going to go where it can go on port side, but it just diminishes the amplitude of that arc and lower the whole stress on the rig. So this is this morning. You can see the wind has shifted. The boat is, the bow is pointing to the entrance of the bay, and that's because the wind is more of a southerly component right now. And you can see that the two lines have crossed, and this is why I held on for so long to deploy the secondary anchor. Because if the wind shifts, it can cross the line like that all the time, and you end up with a big mess and nothing really functional. But just a little once over like that is not a big deal. And actually, this morning I was kind of impressed because the secondary anchor was not deployed super well, and it did have a lot of scope, yet it was still picking up most of the strength of the anchoring setup. Like, it was becoming the main anchor. So good job, the little Delta 35 pounder with little scope but in good sand. It still can hold that boat just fine. So good secondary anchor setup. And again, from that image you can see like how the swell is coming. It's kind of mirroring like echoing from the point of the bay there, but you can see the two anchors working together in order to reduce the oscillating pattern of the boat, and that's the purpose of this Y configuration, and it really helps holding the boat in place. So I won't be able to say that the storm didn't take a toll. It actually tore a bit of my bimini, and it took away some solar panels of mine. I mean, no big deal in the grand scheme of things. I'll just get that fixed easy. The worst of the storm is already past us, and the wind have shifted to the south, as indicated on the text forecast from NOAA. So this is again my PMZ021 zone. So they say today the winds are going to be southeast to south at 25 to 30 knots, which they are. Scattered showered, and then south to southwest. No, southwest tonight. That's not so fun because the bay is open to the west. So, and it's already giving me a little bit of choppy action right now. So I'll see how that goes. But obviously, all of that is subsiding. It's diminishing. So I don't know if it's going to be worth moving. Probably not. And I already have two anchor out, as you have seen in the footage from outside. Now the folks in Loretto are going to get it tonight, southeast to 30 to 40 knots forecasted. So it was always said that the storm was going to be worst for them because of the trajectory, which we're going to see a bit later. So actually, let's go to that. So now the storm is here, well north of me, so I'm still on the sort of impact zone because we're on the tail end of it, but obviously the winds are much less strong here, and it's going to make landfall again at close to that Bahia Tortuga that everybody stops to fuel, and it will affect like all of the coast of Baja California, including Loretto eventually. It's a really big storm for this season and for this area. It's I've never seen such wind velocity forecast. I've been here since 2016. So, I mean, there might have been storms. I didn't spend all the summers here, but it's the first time that I really see something that big. It's really a strong storm for Baja California. So that's the forecast. So thank God we're behind it. I mean, had a little bit of damage with my solar panel that's gone, and my bimini also, but these were, not, yeah, they were to be expected kind of deal. And if I had been able to just remove the bimini and the zipper were not all salty, I would have kind of prevented all that. But I took a chance. I left it out there, and I'm gonna need some new solar panel, it looks like. So that's about it. It's not more complex than that. You'll see like Friday southwest 10 knots. That's like nothing. It's gonna feel like back to paradise type deal. And in the sort of extended forecast, if we look into the NOAA site, I'll just go back to NHC here. So that's the Atlantic, and we see Kay here. And for now, no other system or storm are forecasted, which, after a big storm like that, you kind of take a break. The energy is gone from the ocean for a little bit, and we'll see if we go from there, and we'll be in La Paz hopefully Friday. So that's it for that storm.